Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Naomi. Welcome. Happy Women's Day, everyone. My name is Naomi Ekwalo. I'm an ISACA student member, and I'm really glad to be here. That was a really beautiful song, and the person had a really beautiful voice. So right now, we are going to take on a welcome address and an opening keynote by our secretary, Mrs. Madam Gloria MacArthur Oko. So, Madam Gloria, you have the floor now.
Okay. Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining. International Women's Day is one day that is celebrated all over the world, for women. And this year, the theme is all about inclusivity in the workplace. So all through today's meeting, we are going to have various panel sessions that will tell us about various areas, how women can progress in their career. We'll have how women have also become best at what they do. Hello, please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, but we would like to
Yes,
see
Madam Gloria, we can hear you very well.
In fact, I have even put on my video, so I'm wondering, you can still see me?
We can see you, but not clearly.
They should stop
see your beautiful
sharing
face.
so that we can
You
see
can
you.
you can adjust your camera small.
Okay.
Excellent.
Can you see my
Better.
face now? Hello,
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
I can see your
everybody.
beautiful face.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so today is a day where we want to highlight some things about women, how they can progress in their career. So we hear a lot from different people. We will learn from our panelists, those that have been in the game for a long time, and those that are also new. But at least through mentorship have achieved a lot, and so because they have been self-driven, they knew how they got to the height. So these ones shall show our next generation how to get to that point of their desired of their career, and how to get to that desired path. So without taking making too much taking too much time, we'll go over to the next session. Right now, I'm going to call on Mrs. Mariam Chukwuemeka to give us an overview of the She Leads Tech program. I'll call on Mariam now. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mariam.
Yes,
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. And happy International Women's Day to all the women here and everywhere part of the world. So today, as we know, we're celebrating all women globally. And the theme for our year, the IWD 2024, is Inspire Inclusion. The theme, yeah. So today, ISACA Abuja has chosen 2 sessions. We'll be having 2 sessions for the day. The first session will be on career development insights by women thought leaders. And the second session will be taken by another moderator on inspiring the next generation, mentorship opportunities for university students. And why is this important to ISACA? Because ISACA believes in building nation, building people, building capacity. And so that's why we've chosen this topic. We've chosen great women in ISACA and outside ISACA from the industry and academia to shed more light on these topics. And in the coming minutes, we'll have, for the first panel, we'll have Dr. Chidima Okolo from the UK National Science Facility, Dr. Amina Sambo from NIDA, Mrs. Adedoyin Odunfa, the MDC of Digital Jewels, Mrs. Chinenye Chiza. And for the second panel, we'll be having Mrs. Uchenna Emeka Obi from CBN, Ms. Ejiro Ebuaka, my apologies for that, from NMPC, and Miriam Kotangura from NMPC too, and Dr. Vivian Woncha from Noun University. So you see that ISACA is, we're blessed to have these great women, and also to the co-moderator who will be moderating the second session, Naomi. So stay tuned. It's going to be an interesting panel. And it's going to be also an interactive session for every one of us. Feel free to drop your questions on the chat room. And once the panel is finished, or once all the panelists finish, we'll be taking up the questions. And please, the panelists, let's please stick to time. For the first session, we'll be having 45 minutes. And the next session is also 45 minutes. So let's try as much as possible to stick to our time, make our responses concise. And again, I would like to say Happy International Women's Day to all women out there. Thank you.
Yes, Madam Gloria.
Okay, so we are going into the panel sessions now. So the host for the second session, for the first session, which is Career Development Insights. So we have the host to take on this particular thing. Now, Mariam, you are the host for that session. So.
Okay. All right, thank you, Gloria. Like I earlier said, we'll just move into our questions and discussions for the day. In no particular order, I'll be asking the questions, and I'll just start with Dr. Chidima Okolo. Is she here on the call?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Okay. All right. Before we go into our questions, I just want to ask, what does the theme mean to you?
Inspiring inclusion. It means, for me particularly, it means sharing opportunities, okay, for as many opportunities that come my way, looking for people in my social network, people around me, who I can also make those opportunities available to. So not just moving up the ladder, but taking as many people as I can with me. That's what inclusion means to me.
Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Amina, maybe you help us with that question again. What does inspire inclusion, investing in women to accelerate progress, what does it mean to you?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. Hello, Mariam. Hello, everyone. It's very interesting to be here with this amazing set of carefully selected women to discuss on a very important day. When you hear inclusion and you're hearing about inspiring inclusion on a Women's Day, then it's ensuring that women are carried along in all career sectors. They are given the opportunity to thrive, equity, even beyond equality. And for me personally, it's something very dear to my heart. Having gone through the ladder and then being a part of the career workforce, you know, it's a very important topic that has even pushed me to coming up with a foundation to ensure that young ladies and women have a voice. They are being recognized for the work they're doing. They have opportunities for mentoring. We have people tell their stories, and we also step out as role models to make sure that we give them the opportunity to thrive. Thank you.
Okay. So, thank you, Dr. Amina. I'll go over to Mrs. Adedoyin Odunfa. I know you're the managing director, CEO of Digital Jewel. What does it mean to inspire inclusion in the workplace?
Hello, good evening, everyone, and congrats to all the ladies around the room, and indeed the gentlemen also who are present. I think we need all the ladies and all the men, and well done to ISACA for organizing this. What does inclusion mean? I think for me, it's benefiting from diversity, and specifically the focus for IWD is on women. And I think you get a lot of benefits when you have both male and female professionals around the table. You get different perspectives, you get different thought patterns, and you're able to make more meaningful, more value-adding decisions. I think it's absolutely critical that you have women, in this context, professional women included in everything that we do. I don't think that we can afford to exclude them. As a female professional myself, I think it's also about ensuring that I'm intentional about identifying opportunities for female professionals and seeing how I can help make the journey for the next female professional, the next female entrepreneur, as I also wear that cap, a little bit easier. It's a road less traveled, but for me, that is what inspiring inclusion will mean. Inspiring the next female to feel that it's worth it. It's worth, stretching themselves, working that much harder as we have to ensure that we make an impact, we add value. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And I'll just move to the next person, Mrs. Chine Chizar. What does it mean to inspire inclusion in our environment?
So all the speakers before me have basically said something about this. And just to lend an additional voice, for me, it is a shining example. It is more of encouraging the participation from women. Someone has once mentioned to me earlier that women are actually architects of the world. And people overlook that because we build the home, we build so many foundational institutions that we have in our society. And so it's encouraging women, the young, and even peers that they can do more, that they can inspire others to participate. Also encouraging our male colleagues to give the opportunities when they arise for these women to show their capabilities. It's also an opportunity for us to include all gender as we grow in tech and in society. Everyone has some input or capacity to bring to the table. So for me, this women inspiring inclusion, it's bringing everyone along.
Okay, thank you. Please, our participants, feel free to drop off the questions on our chat room so that we can start compiling them. Thank you. So I'll just move straight to the questions. Dr. Amina, what were some key challenges you faced in your career, particularly as a woman, and how did you overcome them?
Okay, I'm muted. The challenges are that, the challenges working up the ladder, especially in tech, right? Usually starts with the bias. Being a female, right? And then delving into the field of computer science, right, from the degree. You have classmates, that kind of push you around, coding at the time when I was in university around 1995 was like more, it's STEM, so it's more of a male-dominated area. And being able to be the beat men, when you have assignments, assessments, was even quite a challenge, And because it was very difficult for them to accept that women could do it and could do it really well. So that bias started right from the university, and then coming to the work force, you always get kind of biased as when opportunities come, you're not the first person that is chosen for that opportunity. And a number of these things, when you see them happen, and I try to reach out, for example, to ask, why, a couple of things happened, at that time, like maybe going to Lagos for a course, or going to Lagos for a training, or even traveling. Can you hear me? I just saw a mute sign.
Yeah, we can hear you now, Doctor.
Okay, awesome. So you get, when opportunities come, like for career progression, travel, and all that opportunities, they think they're actually doing you a favor by excluding you and giving it the opportunity to your male counterparts. They say things like, you're pregnant, or, you're a lady, you have to take care of your family. We don't want you to travel too much, and it will become a problem. It had to get to a point where I had to meet, for me personally, I had to meet my boss, and I said, why are you taking the decision for me? Why don't you just give me the opportunity, and then I will decide? For me, or for my husband, as you keep thinking about him or considering him in your decisions, for him to allow me to come to the workforce. He knows some of these things are there, and I'm not excluded. As far as I'm here, let me be part of it. Yeah, kind of even actually branded as like a troublemaker, and you're called a lot of times a man if you're able to really do things well and really stand up for it, right? So there's a lot of these kind of biases that exist. So how did I overcome them? I think for me, it was consistently educating myself. And whenever I have an opportunity, a task given to me, I make sure that I excel, to the point that irrespective of what you feel about me, if you really want to get the job done, you know who to get, right? To get the job done, and done quite well. So I think focusing on ensuring that you have the right skills and you prove yourself whenever an opportunity brings itself are some of the things that really help me to overcome some of these biases. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Doc. So our take home here is consistently improving upon yourself, because really, if they have to get the work done, they look for who is available and who can do it, not only when you're available, and be sure that you can do it and do it very well. So I'll just move to Mrs. Adedoyin. How did you balance career, being the MD of Digital Jewel, how did you balance career ambitions with personal life commitments, with the many biases around our sector, IT, the men, and
Thanks, Miriam. I think for me, the first one was always to be prepared to work harder than our male counterparts. And I think this is something that we all have to come to terms with as female professionals. So you know that you have to work harder because you have to be able to indicate and prove that you can add value. The other one was being as organized as I can be, especially on the home front. So I came across a term early in my career called domestic infrastructure. And I think it's a very apt term because we all need to make sure that our domestic infrastructure is in place and is solid and it's functional. That means that you've got to get support where you need it on the home front, all right? And make sure that that support is appropriate, whilst also ensuring that you yourself are not absent. Okay, so from the workplace point of view, it's always been very clear about making sure that I want to achieve, I want to add value, I want to impact, and therefore being prepared to collaborate with people, being prepared to work the extra mile, stretch myself, and make sure that I don't lose sight of people in the work front. I'll just give a little example because I want to be as practical as possible. I remember in one of my past career roles, I've been a career consultant all my life. I was told by my boss that we're going to have take a client out for dinner. And this was before digital, Joel. So I had to call my family, my children, and let them know. Still quite young at that time. And one of my children said, no, you can't do that. Just tell them you have children. So I told my daughter that it may surprise you that I'm not the only one that has children. So I still have to go, but I always ensured that they were well taken care of. So please let's remember the term domestic infrastructure. It's family. It's making sure that you have reliable help, making sure that you yourself are 100% organized, because if you're disorganized, it's not going to work. Maybe those are some of the tips for me. I'll stop there in the interest of time.
Thank you, Mr. Adedoyin. So prepare to work harder. And I just learned a new one, domestic infrastructure. I thought it was just IT infrastructure, but now I will add domestic to it. So to the third question, Dr. Chidima Okolo, can you share a significant moment or experience that shaped your career trajectory?
Hi.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. So I was just taking my time to collect my thoughts. So for me, my career trajectory has been very interesting because coming all the way from the life sciences, that is biology, doing my bachelor's, master's, and then going to New Zealand to do my PhD, all in life sciences. And then at the end of my PhD, I'm like, okay, where next do I go? Picked up a lot. I was very heavy on microscopy, and then that was like physical sciences. I'm like, okay, I think I want to combine this to help people to do their research while also doing my research. So landed myself in the UK's National Science Facility. So for me, I would say one of the key defining feature in my career has been blending disciplines, okay? So from blending life sciences with physics, and, you know, currently now I'm blending the whole of sciences with business and finance. So finding those keys for each gateway for me, whether I want to step onto the career ladder as an early career, or I want to advance to a mid-senior level, or whatever I want to do, they are finding the right keys for me have always been a significant aspect of my career. Okay, which key is going to unlock this next step? Is it education? Do I need to upskill? Do I need to network better? So which key do I need for this next phase? So these have been like significant events for me in my career journey. So for me currently now, it's been a move from science to an interdisciplinary area now of science and business, which has also brought me into IT, because with business analysis, you're looking for IT solutions for, you know, for organizations and strategies. So I would say for me, one of the most significant ones is moving, like occupying that niche or domain between science and business. It's reshaped my worldview, exposed me to a lot of things which I was unaware of. So blending disciplines strategically to advance has been very significant for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doc. Yeah, we understand the importance of discipline in every facet of life, environment, the workplace, anywhere we find ourselves. We can't take it, we can't overemphasize the importance of being disciplined in everything we do. So, Ms. Chine, in male-dominated industries or workplaces, how do you assert your presence and ensure your voice is heard? Interesting.
I kind of smiled when someone said often being called a man often. I was just called a man today. So we were celebrating International Women's Day at work, and they say, ladies, please stand and let's get an ovation. I stood and they say, no, not you, you're a man. But anyway, one of the things that I find that has helped me is confidence. And I see that confidence comes from the knowledge. Mr. Adedoyin mentioned about being resourceful. Once you build a knowledge, the confidence comes into play and you're prepared for meetings and you're basically giving a view that makes you that go-to person for information, for strategy. And I always speak up. I'm not shy of basically saying what I think. And I know sometimes people can view it as assertive, but I've found that when you speak up, you are not really ignored, in a respectful way, by the way, not just punching in, but in a respectful way. I just like to ensure that at all times, my opinion about a particular situation is understood and our implementation plan is clear. Another thing that I hold on to are my allies. I kind of build like relationship with male colleagues in such a way that as a woman, you do understand when something is off. And so if you have allies where this is good in this area and someone is not that strong in this area, and then you mend the fences and build the bridge and get the task done, along the line, they always think of you that, look, let's get her here so she'll help us do this. And the work gets done and everybody is happy with it. So for me, it is more of being prepared, having that confidence, speaking up, having my allies. The men have been super supportive. I've been lucky from my university days. I did engineering physics, and in a class of how many guys, we were just about 5 or 6 girls in that set. And we've always had these male partners as allies. And it's kind of like strengthened me because I come from a family of all girls. We're all girls, and I'm like the top number one. So it's kind of like giving me extra confidence and boost. You'd never know. And this is to speak to all the male people on the call. You never know how that word of encouragement helps that woman in the workplace. It's not time to put down. Let the allies help us. And these are the little tips I have in coping with a male-dominated environment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chine. Okay, so she said 2 things: be resourceful and be confident. I'll just run through the other set of questions before we take our last words from our panelists. We're almost 9 minutes into our time. I'll start with Dr. Amina again. What are some common misconceptions about women in leadership positions, and how do you challenge them?
Ooh, very interesting question. So some of the misconceptions that you get when you're a woman, that boss lady kind of thing. Most people think it's very hard for woman to work together, right? I think somebody's
Sorry about that, Doc. Sorry, can we just mute ourselves and so that we can hear ourselves?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, Doc.
Yeah, so once you're able to, once you're working with a woman, right? Once you have a woman boss, you're automatically branded as tough, and that we always compete with each other, and we're very bossy, and this and that. So I've looked around and I've seen some of these attributes coming up in women when we try to actually prove ourselves, right? Trying to show that we are good and we get the job done, and to make sure, when you put a woman to assign a role to her, she would make sure that it's being done very thoroughly. So that attitude and that what do you call it? You get so into the job, right? That sometimes you forget, you kind of forget yourself. Not for everyone, but you kind of forget yourself. It's, for me, I think it's an innate woman thing. Very passionate. Sorry, that was the word I was getting at. Pardon me, I'm a very early morning person. So when it starts getting from 4, I start to wind down. So yeah, that misconception is very, very not correct. Most of the time, it's the experiences and the things around the woman, and also, like I mentioned, our approach in, especially maybe for me too, let me speak for myself, but I've heard women across the table say the same thing, right? In trying to get the job done, in trying to make sure that everybody's in order and we deliver, that these things get into the way. But in all essence, for me, I think I love working with women, and I use the experiences that I have and the challenges that I have faced to ensure that to make sure that they don't go through the same thing, right? And another key one is in thinking that women, have limitations. Just like I mentioned earlier in my other brief, it's generally felt like, you have a more like natural born responsibility of being a wife and a mother. So you're kind of limited in the workforce. That's an absolutely wrong perspective. And being a woman, we are natural leaders because in our families, we basically drive everything around then. And you notice, it's the husband. Yes, he's the head, but we're the neck. Without the neck, it can't even sit. So the women are leaders in their houses, with their kids, with everyone, right? So that natural characteristics that we have is actually a strong attribute for women, and it shouldn't be seen as a negative one. So I think I'll stop here in case my other counterparts would want to add a couple of things to that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Doc. Ms. Sadodin, as MD CEO, can you discuss a time when you had to take a significant risk in your career? I know you must have gone the 8 to 5 and now entrepreneur, and how did it pay off? Maybe some of us would like to know and to cross over to the other side.
Thanks for the question. So yes, probably the most significant career decision I took was when I decided to leave an 8 to 5 job and then start off on digital jewels, which was now 16 years ago. So it didn't start that way originally. I think the intention was to be an entrepreneur, which was to set up a subsidiary that would focus on IT-related consulting, but that didn't work out, and I felt led to just step out and start off digital jewels. So what helped? I felt the conviction that that was the right thing to do. I knew that it was important for me not to burn bridges with my old employer, and I believe that I haven't. I also felt that it was an opportunity to impact not just Nigeria, but Africa, not just for me, but for fellow professionals, both male and female. Okay, so I didn't really think about it as a huge risk that time. I think it was the action of other people saying, oh, that was a very bold thing for you to do. Did you just step out? Were you sort of doing the business on the side before that? And I said, no, I wasn't. I wasn't doing the business on the side before that. I was very, very single-minded and very focused on, at that time, giving my employer 100% of my time. And I think that also helped me. And then when I stepped out, I had a vision of sorts, which I believe was divinely orchestrated, and I just focused, worked with young people. I love to work with young people, took up a crop of young people, and we worked assiduously through God's grace to make it happen. So for me, it was just that conviction that I was doing the right thing. The support I had from not everybody, because not everybody believed I was doing the right thing. I had indeed at that time some close friends who told me, you're doing the wrong thing. So you have to have that conviction. You can't depend on what other people say. You have to know in your own knowing that this is the right thing to do at this time, because the timing is also very important. The other thing is not to expect that the road will necessarily be smooth and easy. So, entrepreneurship, techpreneurship is the road less traveled. And so you do have to be prepared. Whatever decision that you take, whether it's even staying within your current career, that it will not necessarily be easy, but be determined to work through whatever challenges that you may find yourself in. So for me, that was a decision. Did it pay off? I believe that it did. I believe that, 16 years later, we can see we have impacted our space. I've had the privilege to take in and groom and equip wonderful professionals. They're all across the world now. We continue to collaborate. I've had the privilege and the opportunity to impact organizations and strengthen their policies and their processes and their systems and train their people. I've had the opportunity, I think, indeed, to impact the African continent. Okay, so it is really, you can do what you put your mind to do if you know that you're being guided at the right time, because the timing is also. So Yeah, so for me, I don't think there are any regrets. Were there challenges? Of course. And that's the other thing that I'd just like to say, that we shouldn't give up at every challenge that we find. And that sometimes people can expect that things will go so smoothly. And the first challenge that they encounter, they just put up their hands and they say, not try in the same way. You may have to go around that challenge, so be resourceful, be resilient, be persistent. That mountain will move. Just keep at it and you'll make your impact. I hope that helps. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adedoyin. So I'll
Miriam,
just
can
go
you
to
hear me?
Chine. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you too.
Yes.
Okay, all right then. Thank you. So Chine, looking back, is there anything you would have done differently in your career, and what lessons have you learned from those experiences?
Sorry, I was basically typing in the chat. So I'm not sure if there's anything I would have done differently. My work career path has been what's the word I would use? Has been very different. So I did physics and ended up in IT. Well, most people do that. However, I was in the telco sector in the days of Econet from that's 2004, 2003. So I've been like a switch engineer, strictly just telcos. We built or set up base stations in the Southeast and then moved from there to infrastructure and IT. Started with cable crimping as usual when you're learning IT. And for me, all these different experiences have brought with them different knowledge, things that have been resourceful for me as I have grown. A lot of my grasp in infrastructure today comes from those early beginnings. And it's been easy to transit to security because you understand how the infrastructure works. And maybe the only thing I would have done more or better is study more when I was in school. I played a lot. So maybe I should have studied. And everybody around me was saying, "Oh, you are capable." In fact, and you just apply yourself. And I didn't come out with a first class, but I played and I am where I am today. So maybe I should have studied more. And I think one of my main achievements has always been mentorship. It's something Mrs. Adedoyin silently introduced me to. I think one of all these women sessions that we had a while back. And she said, "Chine, you can't be quiet. Go out there." And I have actually learned from these young people. So it's not just me giving back. I learn a lot from them. So it's been an interesting journey for me. I'm still learning and unlearning and making the decisions. I'm happy that I am now in a leadership position to impact younger people. And that's my journey so far. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chine. I like the idea of the mentoring, and our second session will be taken by Naomi is on inspiring the next generation, mentorship opportunities for university students. So I'll just go to the final question to Dr. Okolo, the one on salary. How do you negotiate salary? How do you approach in life sciences? I know you've moved from life sciences to business analysis and IT. How do you approach negotiation for salary increases, promotions, or other career opportunity as you progress in your career?
Thank you for that question. So the UK landscape is quite different from Nigeria. So I appreciate that things work differently. So for the UK, I think it's the opposite of maybe Nigeria, because here, no one rewards you for loyalty, like staying with one company. So if you want to move up, like pay-wise, you need to be able to like be mobile. So upwardly mobile, like Gen Z will say. So and how can you be mobile? Experiences. So wherever you are, there might be roles that, okay, you say, "Oh, this is not my JD, this is not my job description." Just take on those roles. they may not be paying you enough for what you're working, but they can't take away your experiences from you, okay? So take on those roles, additional responsibilities. You would, like I find that they come in handy when you're not even expecting them, because they also help your mobility. For instance, where I am, you might not officially be bearing the title of a project manager. Just do those project management roles. They come in handy. They help in your upward mobility. And for the landscape where I am moving or changing jobs is what, I mean, that's how you're able to boost your income massively. So staying one place, unfortunately, it's not really rewarded in the UK. I appreciate that this is not the same thing with Nigeria. So I would say some people here are watching from the US, from the UK, New Zealand, and Nigeria. So find what works for where you are. If it's upskilling, reskilling, going for those professional certifications, find what works for wherever location you are and maximize it to your own advantage, whether you're male or female. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Doc. Before we take the last words from all our panelists, there's a question on the chat from, I would appreciate if Ms. Adedoyin can take on that. What's your take on gender mainstreaming to eco-friendly livelihood, transformative growth, enhancement, inclusively? Ms. Adedoyin, did you get that?
There are lots of big words in that question.
I know, right?
Keep it really simple.
Yeah.
All right, so my understanding basically is about of the question is about how to ensure that we basically achieve the theme of the IWD, which is inspiring inclusion, making sure that it's not just a happenstance, but it's something that is intentionally pursued. You know, so I think that there are many conscious and unconscious biases that we need to deal with in the workplace, both as male and female. Simple things, you know, for example, in my organization, you cannot say the bibs. You can't. We don't have bibs. We're professionals. You know, those simple things, if you let it slide, you find that you build a workplace that there is no inclusion, you know. So we have to make sure that we're treating people with the respect they deserve, whether they're male or whether they're female. So we don't talk about software when you're trying to talk about a female colleague, okay? But sometimes you even have unconscious biases. I think it was Dr. Amina that was saying that sometimes people want to take the decisions for you, and perhaps I have even fallen short of it. So I remember, because in my organization, our consultants have the opportunity to travel to other African countries, and unintentionally, I thought I was doing them a favor, used to shield the young ladies, especially the ones that were newly married, until one of them came to me to say, "Why aren't we traveling?" And I said, "Why would I want to do that to you?" And she said, "Because we wanted to." So, you know, sometimes those biases are, even though I, as a young consultant, was traveling around, but I thought I was doing them a disservice. So in my view, really, it's about making sure that we intentionally have policies and practices. I think the practice is more important. A lot of organizations have policies that really are not adhered to. Some people don't even know what is in the policy framework. But the practices that you enforce in your organization have to be such that people know that both male and female are to be respected, their contributions are valuable, and women feel empowered to speak up and make their valuable contributions. I hope it's answered that very complex question in a very simple way. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Adedoyin. I would like Dr. Amina to come from the public sector. How do you think, what's your take on gender mainstreaming to eco-friendly livelihood?
Oh, I think that's like Mrs. Adedoyin said, when I saw the question, I found a lot of big vocabularies in it, right? So basically, I think when we're speaking about gender mainstreaming, we're speaking about strategies that ensure equity between, you know, both men and women over, for example, resources, decision-making, and benefits at all stages, right? This is not just for gender equality, but also social justice and human rights. I think across the table in our discussions, you know, a lot of these ideas kept on coming on, you know, how to ensure that this is being done properly. respect, like Mrs. Adedoyin mentioned, is a very key attribute that needs to be, or points that needs to be addressed, as well as also ensuring that they have a voice, right? Whenever there is an opportunity, I think this biases doesn't always have to be like gender-based. It's also maybe cultural or even sometimes religious. So having policies within the organizations that gives everyone equal opportunity is very important. And ensuring that, as part of our performance and whatever, we also get some sort of feedback from the workforce to ensure that their voices are being heard. Because a lot of times, like I mentioned earlier as well, apart from thinking that we're doing the others a favor, things are usually overlooked, right? Or they're generalized. So getting feedback from internal is also a very key thing that needs to be addressed to take care of this as well. So I think I'm seeing notifications. Okay, I'll stop here.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Doc, for answering that question. So I'll just go to our final seconds. In 20 seconds, Ms. Chine, please, can you just wrap up the whole Inspire Inclusion? If I go to the other panelists.
Yes, so inspiring inclusion, we have raised awareness, we have talked about it. We hope everyone will play their part in ensuring that everybody's voice is heard. So let's encourage fostering solidarity. And Dr. Amina mentioned she can work with anybody. There's all those biases. Let's drop them. Let's consciously drop the bias. Let's encourage fostering solidarity, and together promote women empowerment. Once we empower women in the workplace, you would be amazed at the amount of results you will get in all your projects. So for me, it is, let's do a bit and inspire the future generations to do better than we've done. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Chine. So I'll just go over to Dr. Okolo. Last few seconds with on Inspire Inclusion.
So it's been an amazing discussion time. I've really enjoyed myself learning from all the inspirational and aspirational women here. For me, I always have this, but this is my personal thought, that in the quest for independence as a nation, like from colonial rule, I have this reservation that the Nigerian woman was left behind to crawl out of a lot. So I feel like we were left behind to fight for our own independence on our own. So consciously or unconsciously try to just, make life better for someone else, like just a little smile, a hug, encouragement. It can go a long way, because we have a lot, there's this hole there and we are crawling out from a lot. We battle a lot of things, biology, the family, it's a lot. So being integrated in the workplace and trying to break those glass ceilings and, wear so many hats. Just, if there's anything I would like to say, is just be kind to a woman. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. I'll go over to Mrs. Odunfa. Your closing remarks on Inspire Inclusion.
Thank you. I'd speak to all the ladies that are around the room today, and say, be true to yourself. Don't try and be somebody else. Know who you are, play to your strengths, whilst you continuously work on your weaknesses, either directly or indirectly. Keep learning. Don't be left behind in that game of learning. Keep learning and unlearning, okay? And be the best that you can be. Aim for impact. Aim to make a difference, to add value. Don't play the gender game, the gender card, okay? Just be a professional, be the best that you can be. And then you will see the rewards come. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Odunfa. So I'll just go finally to Dr. Amina. Your closing remarks on Inspire Inclusion.
Thank you very much. It was an amazing opportunity speaking with you amazing ladies, and I'm inspired with your stories. Thank you, Mariam, for moderating so fabulously. My message to everyone listening and every lady out there aspiring for leadership roles in their respective fields, whether they are aspiring or not, I'm encouraging them to please aspire. And, and as they go out there aspiring, right, look inward and really identify your why. Why do you want that role? You know, is it about changing lives? Whatever your why is, it will actually help you with the what and how. So we can sit down here and keep sharing our experiences, but believe me, when you go through it, you would have a lot more to share because the experiences are unique. There are some similarities, but they are also always unique. So your why would help you with your what and your how. And once the latter is answered, the why, you need to consistently create a map on achieving it. So you wouldn't just create something or maybe an agenda or strategy to achieve it and think that's what you would be using for the next 2 years. You need to constantly be reviewing it and changing it based on your priorities at every point. And then you need to consistently be doing something about it daily, you know, no matter how little, so that you know you're making small steps towards your goal. Of course, you need to pray, and believe me, you would get there. And finally, please be a role model, right? Be whatever you needed at some point in time and ensure that you're sure that it's useful for the person you're supporting or whatever. I would add a new word too. I'll follow my big sister's step, Mrs. Odofun, and then I would say we should try to be godmothers. Have you realized that they only say Godfather? Because they open the doors, they hold the hands, they create the opportunities. We should be out there helping the young ladies achieve and getting what they want to, where they want to get to by being a godmother. So thank you so much.
All right,
No.
thank you so much to all the panelists and Mrs. Odumfa, Dr. Minasambo, Mrs. Chine, and Dr. Kulu. Thank you for honoring our invitation. On behalf of the president of ISACA ABUJA, I want to sincerely appreciate you for your time. Like Dr. Mina said, find your why. You will then get the what and how. Be resourceful. Keep learning. Keep learning. The only way you can become competitive out there is to be the best that you can always be. You know, always be the best and be a role model to everybody, including the male child. You know, all these things we say, you know, the female, also to the male child, be role models, all of them. On this note, I sincerely want to appreciate all the panelists. Please don't leave. The next session will be on mentoring, and we also hope that you will be around to mentor most of our ISACA students. I'll be handing over to Naomi to introduce the next set of panelists. Thank you, and again, happy International Women's Day.
Thank you very much.
International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day. Thank you.
Happy International Women's Day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
That was really mind-blowing. I am really excited. I really love the last session. As Mrs. Odumfa said, that we should not subscribe with the bias of being a woman and being in the minority. And we should all aspire as women to break barriers and be professional. That's really great. So for the next session, we're going to be talking about inspiring the next generation, mentorship opportunities for university children and students. Our panelists will have Dr. Vivian Nwakocha. She's an associate professor of cybersecurity, National Open University. We have Miss Ejiro Ibunka. She's a manager in NMPC. We have Miss Miriam Pantogara. She's a manager in enterprise system. She's a manager at NMPC. We have she's a manager at NMPC under enterprise system management. Then lastly, we have Mrs. Stella Emekobi. She's a principal manager at CBN. Wow, big names. I welcome you to this session. I'm your panelist. I'm your moderator for this session. My name is Naomi. So yeah, please, do we have them? Are they available right now?
They're all in the house.
Good evening, everyone. So
Okay.
I'm happy International Women's Day to everyone.
Good evening,
Thanks,
Doc.
Naomi. We're here.
Good evening. Hello, good evening. So we'll just start right now. We'll just start right now. So we'll start with Miss Ejiro, if you don't mind. Miss Ejiro, please can you share your journey in cybersecurity? What initially drew you to this field, and how did you navigate your early career challenges? I suppose you had like challenges as a beginner. So how did you navigate it?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Let me see if I
Good
can
evening.
share my video. It's a bit dark where I am, so pardon me. I hope this is fine. So you said cybersecurity, that is not my field. I'm definitely not a cybersecurity expert. I'm in IT applications, actually. I'm into software, but I guess that doesn't really matter, the field. The field doesn't really matter. It's the same question applies. Yeah. Okay, so when I joined NNPC in 2007, I joined NNPC as a graduate, trainee straight out of school, and I had, big dreams. I felt, I could do anything because of my education. I had some certifications, and I thought I was all of that, But when I got, into working, you realize that education and actual experience, they are two different things, trying to understand what it is like to work in an office environment, to interact with colleagues, to understand what projects are all about and things like that. So I realized I had a lot to learn. It wasn't just about my academic qualifications or my certifications, and I had to humble myself to learn from those I had met, on the job, and also from my my bosses at the time. Fortunately for me, I had a very good coach, and he was able to work with me and teach me some of the basics. And the rest, they say, is history. I've been able to grow and learn. So, having an open, learning, teachable spirit and mindset, a growth mindset, has been key, because without that, you can't really progress. You can't achieve much. You have to be willing to learn from people. You have to be open. No man is an island. You have to be able to listen to feedback, which are some of the things that I've found over time have helped me, in my career.
Thank you very much, Miss Ejiro. That was really wonderful. I do believe having a growth mindset would lead you to places. So I'm throwing this question to Miss Dr. Vivian. Dr. Vivian, what are some of the most exciting aspects of working in cybersecurity, and what do you see as the biggest opportunity for the next generation of women in this field? And
Thank you,
Dr.
Naomi,
Vivian,
for that question. So what are the opportunities for working in cybersecurity? In fact, the world.
what are the biggest opportunities?
Sorry, what did you say?
What do you foresee as a future biggest opportunity for next generation of women? For I know that the opportunities available during your time are different from during this time, present during this time. What do you think are the biggest opportunities?
So I think the world is at the feet of the next generation, because at the inception of my career, I think the awareness was not so much, and we hadn't gone so digital, but the world has gone very digital. And today the new oil is data. So those in cybersecurity are going to be like the queens for the female and the kings, because they'll be managing and ensuring that wherever they are, the data, which is now the new oil, is secured. So basically, those in cybersecurity have the world at their feet, because with all the knowledge, that is, if they are skilled and they're competent, they'll be able to secure all that they have in their organization, in their institution, wherever they find themselves, as long as they are skilled, you know, because today what we do is to ensure that people are not just theoretical. All the cybersecurity experts have to be competent, and that's why they're encouraged to ensure that they get hands-on training, and while at their studies, they do some form of internship, so work with the industry to solve real-life problems. Thank you. I'll stop at that.
Thank you. That was great. So Miss Stella Emekobi, we know that money for education and for cybersecurity certification can be a barrier, and it's one of the top challenges university students have. So what advice do you have for students navigating these financial hurdles?
Yeah, thank you, Naomi, for that question. And I'll go this way. There's a lot to learn, and for you to participate very well or be appreciated in your field of cybersecurity, you need to learn more. And unfortunately, even I was at least sometime last week, I was talking to some of my staff, and we're talking about doing some certifications and all that. And they again reminded me the cost of, the exchange rate. Yeah, it has become a bit unaffordable now, but what I tell the students is try as much as possible to look out for freewares. We call it freewares on the internet. There are some platforms that you're going to get courses that are as cheap as 1,000, 2,000 naira, for example. If you go to Udemy, there are a lot of courses you can actually buy as low as 1,000, 2,000, or even 3,000 naira. And then the other thing you're going to do is to form groups of learners. So for example, if I'm able to buy a course, I can share that with other of my counterparts. So there are a whole lot of that to learn. The second thing that you might need to know, or you might need to learn or think of doing, is to learn from professionals. So there are platforms where you can, interact with mentors. So for example, on LinkedIn, with my years of experience, almost 20 years of experience, I still go to LinkedIn to search for people that are, going through the route I'm traveling, to be able to learn new things from them. So basically, you can also go to that platform and try to, look out for people that are already on the route which you intend to travel. And then you can actually send them an email. Don't be discouraged if you don't get the feedback immediately. Continue to, send that email. So basically, that's about that. Yes, it is expensive to, to learn more or to learn new things now, but don't be discouraged. Try to look for freeways. You can get that online. There are a whole lot of, even in YouTube, there are courses you can learn from beginning to the end in YouTube, which is almost free. So basically, that's how I advise the young people, expand your tentacles, understand where you're headed, because it is very important. If you don't see the end of the tunnel, you won't know the route to take. So there are a lot of things going on in cybersecurity today. It is so wide. Do you want to be a vulnerability manager? Do you want to be a security operations center analyst? Identify where you're headed. And if you fall short of understanding how to go about this, you can actually, look out for mentors. Most importantly, don't stay in the dark, because it is also important for you to understand there's a gap, a big gap between where you are at the moment. Those things we learn in school, all those mathematics, ordinary differential equations, they are applied differently in the labor market. So most importantly, try to get to learn from people that are already in the market. Try to get mentors. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really great. Thank you a lot for this. I'll sure put into practice some of the advice you said. So Madam Miriam, cybersecurity, as we all know, cybersecurity is constantly evolving every day. How can we students stay up to date with the latest technological advancements and ensure that our skills remain relevant?
Madam Miriam. Yeah. Hello, good evening, everyone. So I'm not really in the cybersecurity field, but I think the question is relevant for all areas of IT. Mainly, I'm application development in the application development area. But with the challenges that we have going forward, I think one of the most important skills that anybody who is in the IT field should have is the quest for knowledge and the drive and enjoyment of what you do. You need to be someone who is looking out for innovation, who wants to catch up with the latest trends and ensure that you are knowledgeable in all areas. IT is changing. What IT was when we started is not what it currently is, and it's not what it is going to be in the future. So you have to be that kind of person who is ready to go with the trends, upgrade yourself, look at what are the trends, make sure that you fill in the gaps in those areas to keep yourself relevant. And that would be a very important thing that I would recommend for students. They need to build that drive from now, because that's the only way that they can have a really fruitful career in the IT sector. So it doesn't matter which area you are. If you're a security expert, things are happening. Like one of the previous speakers mentioned that data is the new gold right now. As we move forward, it's going to be like AI, artificial intelligence, and then even then, there will be issues around the ethical parts of AI. How do we combat that? What are the technology interventions that we can put in that area? So the possibilities are really endless. There are a lot of things that will come up. So you have to keep yourself hungry and creative and be looking for that innovation and latch in to be able to stay relevant.
Thank you very much. It was great. So really, really nice. Dr. Vivian, over to you. I believe mentorship is very invaluable. What are some tips for students seeking mentorship that they are, and how can they begin to build their professional network?
Okay, so you said the skills that mentors or mentees, which one? Mentors?
Like, what are the tips for students seeking out mentors?
Okay, seeking out mentors. Okay, so this is really this is my delight, because essentially for students seeking out mentors, they should look for people that they actually trust. They should also look for people that are available to, listen and hear them out. They should also look at people that they admire, because if you don't admire someone and you want the person to mentor, because mentoring is all about inspiring, help drawing out the potentials of the person you're mentoring. So whoever, like any student that is looking for a mentor, should look up to someone that he or she admires, and not just admiring for beauty, because basically as a student, what do you want to get? Knowledge. So a mentor basically has to be resourceful, knowledgeable and experienced in your field. So it's not all about modeling or whatever. It's about the course or career path, because as a student, that's your major task. Of course, if you're a model, then you can look out for models also in your line. But if you're a student, you need someone that is resourceful. And then also the mentee, I mean, it goes hand in hand. The mentee should also be open. You cannot seek mentorship and then you're not open. You should be open. You should be committed, in the sense that, of course, you're looking out for support. So someone is now available to give you support, then you should be open to learning and to constructive feedback, because sometimes students just recoil because they are given some kind of feedback. No, just be inspired, because that means that this person wants you to, wants you to be better. I mean, even as an associate professor, I still get feedback. So everybody, unless you don't want to learn, and basically in the IT industry, you always have to be open to learning. So that's my take for the mentor and the mentee. Thank you.
That's very nice. Would you, like, in just a sentence, explain where a student can find such a mentor, and how can they build their professional network? Because that's one of issues concerning students and affecting students. They find it hard to find mentors, or they are either afraid and they don't know where to start from in building their professional network. Some are already blessed and already started building their network, but some are still shy and don't know where to start and confused. Can you please let
Yeah, that's you've hit the nail. It's spot on what you've just said. It's a challenge because students usually battle, with their time. They are overloaded, and then also let me just say that within the university setting, there's actually opportunity for mentorship. Unfortunately, because of the workload of probably because supervisors double as both supervisors and mentors, and also we have class, like if at a particular level, for a particular level, you have mentors. They are mentors or counselors, as it may be. Unfortunately, this is not properly managed because of lack of time. There's a kind of but still I'll encourage students to reach out to their supervisors for support. That's the first place. Then basically I'll now encourage students, because platforms like the ISACA platform, Tech Women, NIWIT, you have lots of, like, in fact, for me, you have this, if I were in your shoes, I'll make the most of it, because we didn't have all these opportunities in our time. So I would encourage all the students on this platform to reach out. We have many mentors already available on this platform. For example, the ISACA platform, the Tech Women is another platform, and it's free. I mean, nobody asks you for anything. And then, because I've benefited from Tech Women, as I got mentorship from there. And then you also have the NIWIT. So please feel free. And what I will encourage students to do, never say never. Don't give up at the first. Just try. And truly, just like I think it was Dr. I don't know, somebody had mentioned, just try. Don't already give up and feel shy or whatever. Just reach out. And then the worst you can get, because for me, I had to reach out to many people. The worst you can, during my project as an undergrad, the worst you can get is a no. And then you keep on searching. But please feel free to reach out to all the other, like, senior colleagues on the platform that you are currently, because there are lots of mentors here already, because I can see lots of potentials in the mentors that we have here. And then, like I said, Tech Women is also there. NIWIT is there, at least for women. But of course, professionally, there are many platforms also, that, blogs where you have where you can resolve your challenges. For example, you're developing a software, or you're trying to solve some kind of hack, and then they are like, all this, at least my field is cybersecurity, or if you're developing like GitHub and all, they are even, I mean, so please just, and then today with the Google and Git and the Chat GPT. In fact, you can solve many issues, but of course, it's not the same as having the experience of someone. But please, on the not social media per se, but there are many platforms, also blogs, where you can also resolve some technical matters. But in terms of having a one-on-one, like people that are ready to and available on this kind of platform, you can already reach out, and I'll ask you to be the one to, because you're the one seeking so you reach out, and typically most people would always oblige. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for this. Madam Ejiro, what advice would you give to young women who are still exploring different career paths and they are unsure if IT is the right fit for them? What advice will you give them? Hello, Madam Ejiro, can you hear me?
Sorry, I'm sorry, please, could you take that again?
I asked, what advice would you give to young women in different career paths and unsure if they are unsure if the right fit for them? What advice will you give them?
Okay, so to really search or ask yourself, what is your passion about? Because at the end of the day, drive you, it will take you far. Things aren't really working very well. I'm getting signals that but I'd also say that it's important to have a mentor, just like the topic we're talking about, because sometimes a mentor can even be like a sounding board for you, and they can listen to you and even help you to uncover some of your hidden talents, okay? And then guide you and assist you in making, that decision. So I'd say, first of all, look inwards. What are you passionate about? What are you, something that you will, without being pushed, without being cajoled, you naturally, tend towards that area. You naturally gravitate towards that area. It's easy for you to pick up concepts in that area, look at them, and then choose, what you're most passionate about and give it your all, go for it, and don't look back. Just keep going, and the sky is the limit.
Thank you. Thank you for that great advice. Madam Miriam, you're a mentor. You as a mentor, what are some potential challenges you as a mentor might encounter in doing mentor and mentee relationship, and how can they be addressed?
Okay, so I would give this feedback based on my experience with mentoring a lot of students. So in NNPC, the IT unit actually takes in a lot of students for the industrial training aspects of their degree programs. So we really do have a lot of students who come in here, and once they come in, we provide the support needed. We assign all of them to someone. They get the mentoring that they require. So I've had a lot of situations where I've had to mentor different kinds of students, and the experience has really been enlightening. You find some people are motivated. They don't even need any pep talks. They are just there. I want to do this. I know what I want. This is my destination. Just give me some pointers on how to get there. Some people even already have the plan of how to get there. They're just checking in with you. Okay, I already have my plan. Is this okay? But you also find that you have some people who are like very undecided. Oh, maybe I want to do it. Maybe I even got into the course because my parents just wanted me to, well, it was the only thing available. So it's at those, with those kind of people that you really have to focus in and kind of try to set them on the right path. So we are very similar to what Ejiro has said. You need to sit them down, have that talk. Is this really what you want to do? Are you sure of what you want to do? Let's try to go through the gamut. And apart from it being what you want to do, are you also equipped to do it? Because really, to be honest, a lot of people want to do some things, but it might not be what they are best suited for. But you could probably find something similar where they're, so you want to be a developer, but you don't have the stamina or you don't have the agility to really put the code together, then you could go into a related area, maybe business development, system, business analysis. So those are the kind of doors that a mentor actually opens to the mentee. And in this kind of situations, you just have to be there to guide and take it on a case-by-case basis, because no two mentees are the same. Everybody has their unique abilities and their unique quirkiness. Some people are just shy. They don't know how to approach people. They don't know how to start conversations. And that is probably limiting them from collaborating and socializing. And it's not allowing them to learn as much as they need to. So you take it on a case-by-case basis and try to look for what the blockers are and put in interventions to ensure that your mentee is actually making the best of the time that they have with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this. It's really so, Madam Stella, you are a mentor. As a mentor, where can you look for suitable mentees? Because I know that mentor and mentee relationship is a two-way thing. you need them and they need you. So as a mentor, where can you look? This question is from Madam Stella. Where can you look for suitable mentees, and what qualities are important when considering a mentee to consider in a mentee relationship when finding a suitable mentee?
Okay, so Naomi, thank
Do
you for the
get
question.
my question?
Oh, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
I
hear
can.
me? Okay.
Yes, I can.
I'm looking for looking for where to get mentees, as we have been talking about, raising the younger generation. We start looking into the schools, university. When I was speaking earlier, I said one of the things that my experiences when I finished uni, I realized that there is a big bridge or gap between the university, most of the things we are learning in the university and what's obtainable in the labor market. I'm talking about people like us that finished school early 2000. So possibly it's important to, nurture the young ones, and it's about going to the university, schools, student programs to identify people that need help. And how do we identify people that need help? First of all, in a mentor relationship, it's important for mentees to identify their goals. What exactly do I need mentorship for? Do I just need mentorship for someone to direct my career path, or I'm actually working on a project and I need a support, or I actually need to make decision on how to progress in my career, which part of the labor market I'm going to, join into when I finish school. So it's important for a mentee to have that quality of trying to identify their priority. What exactly do I need a mentor for? That's one. Two, it's also important for the mentee to be able to, because it's a two-way relationship, you should be able to speak to your mentor, some of the requirements. So basically, you should be able to have an open mind to share your challenges or your desires or the things you're looking for mentorship for. So it's important, okay, I said earlier, identify your goals. Why do you need a mentor? And then you'll be able to, open up, have an open mind. So basically, these are some of the characteristics or things we're looking out in a mentee to have a good relationship with the mentor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will definitely put into consideration to become the right mentee. So for the second to the last question, this is going to be for everyone. As you reflect, so I'm going to start with you, Madam Ejiro. So, Madam Ejiro, as you reflect on your own career, what is one piece of advice you wish you could give to your younger self?
Thank you very much for that. I must say, I have actually been very lucky in my career, a little bit of luck here, a sprinkling of passion there, and a little bit of hard work, So I've really been lucky, really. And if I could give any piece of advice to my younger self, I would say do it again, absolutely the same way, and take no prisoners. I have been privileged to work with an awesome, team all through my career. So I really have been blessed. But I'd say that, boost your confidence, find your fit, as quickly as possible. Believe in yourself, because you are all that. You can do it. You are able. You're as good as anybody here. You deserve to be here. Don't stifle yourself. Don't look down on yourself. Don't think that you are less than. You are all that and a bag of chips.
Wow, that's great. So, Madam Vivian, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Okay, thank you. To my younger self, I will say be bold and intrinsically motivated. I started off as an engineer. I was the only girl. I was not really shy, but sometimes I held back a bit. So I would say for every female, be bold, believe in yourself, believe in your potentials, realize, be self-motivated so that you're not daunted by any form of challenge or lack of recommendation or commendation. Just go for it, because you have all that it takes. Because truly, what stops us a number of times is that mental, like thinking, what would they say? How will it happen? And I would say to my younger self, go for the best. Get it. You can get it. You have all that it takes. And that's what I will also advise the next generation. Believe in yourself, be confident, go for it. But of course, it's not all about going for it just theoretically. It's also 99% hard work, perspiration, 1% inspiration. Yes, you look at it, you admire it, and go for it, work, get down to the ground tasks. What does it take to get there? Get it done, and you'll be there. Most of the scholarships I got, it was from hard work. So, and also the scholarships that most of you will get, it will just be by trying to apply as often as possible, and you'll get it. So that's what I'll tell all of us. Thank you.
That's great. And Madam Stella, what advice would you give to your younger self?
I would say something. For my younger self, the advice I'll give to myself is to have a career path. So what I mean by this is to, as early as possible, to develop my career plan. And how would I do that? I'll tell myself to do self-assessment, because you must know your drivers. So what exactly is driving your career? Is it to make more money? Is it to be famous? Is it to, be happy? So you must identify what your strengths are, you must identify your weaknesses, and you must identify what is driving you. So at that point, you're setting your goals. And also it's important for us to know that these goals are not cast on stone. And that is why your goals have to be, short terms. So if you want to set a 10-year goal, you start by, okay, next 2 years to 2 years, so that you have time to reevaluate where you are and where you're supposed to be. So don't set a goal that you can't, monitor as you progress. So basically, set your career path, know your destination, see the end of the tunnel, evaluate yourself as you progress, and then tick out your milestones and don't beat yourself up. I mean, sometimes you might go away from the track. All you need to know is, as far as you know where you're headed, like Google Map, if it takes you through another route, it's going to recalculate and then bring you back. So basically, that's what I would tell myself. As early as possible, identify where you're headed. But remember, it's not cast on stone. Something can change. And the second thing is that wherever you find yourself, try as much as possible to invest in continuous learning. So when I say invest, it might not be monetary. It could be making friends that will, teach you more things, or trying to get mentors. Because what that means is that if you don't upskill yourself, I mean, people like us that graduated 20 years ago, if you don't upskill yourself, by this time, you won't be able to understand what is happening, the trend in the industry. So basically, that's what I will tell my younger self. Thank you.
You're welcome. Upskilling and have a career plan. That's a really nice advice. Madam Miriam, please, what advice would you give to your younger self? What piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
Yeah, so all in all, I feel like I'm not doing too bad where I am. Yeah, okay. So all in all, I feel like I'm not doing too badly right now. But if I had to go back and do something different, the one thing I would do is that I would take more risks. And that's because when you're younger, you can take a lot of risks without a lot of consequences. You can decide to do different things. You go into different fields, look for different experiences. So in the IT field, especially, you can take risks. You need to look at the trends in the IT industry. And when you look at it, like all the people who came up with all the big IT companies, they did it when they were fairly young, the Facebooks, the Microsofts. So that's the kind of thing that we need to inspire like the younger generation to look at and to think about. Take your risks early, think about things, even if they seem like they are out of this world, they cannot be done. Just try them, experiment on things. That's the one thing that I feel that I didn't do when I was much younger. I came to that realization much later in my life. Like if I could go back, that's really what I would do.
Thank you very much, Madam Miriam. Taking risks. At the moment, I am taking risks. At the moment, I am taking risks. So for the final question, what final message do you have for young women in the audience who are aspiring to build a beautiful career in IT, a beautiful and successful career in IT? What advice do you give them?
Is that my question?
Hello, Madam Miriam. Yes,
Oh, okay.
final question.
Yes. Okay, so
Please.
the advice I would give is that you should have the passion. That's the first thing. Do you have a passion for it? Have you made up your mind? Is that really what you want to do? And once you've made that decision, you need to understand that what comes after is for you to put in the hard work. And when you put in the hard work, you give yourself the better chance of being in a position where everything will fall in place and it will work for you. So for me, the most important thing, very, very important, you need to want it. If you want it, then you will be willing to put in the hard work that is required for you to get to where you need to be. And once you put in the hard work, no matter what, you might have some obstacles along your way. Things might not be going the way you think, but just stay there and keep plugging at it and things will fall in place. That's how life is. And you need to encourage yourself, tell yourself. If you look at people, there are people who will tell you, like in our careers, we got to points where we thought we can never get there, we can never do it. But 20 years later, we are here on an ISACA forum trying to inspire other people. But there were points at which that we never thought that we could get to this point. So it's going to be like that for everybody. But you just have to stick to your vision, stick to what you want, know what you want for yourself. And I'm telling you that if you do that, it will always work out fine for you in the end. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Miriam. Madam Ejiro, what final words, final message would you do you have for young women in the audience aspiring to build a successful career in IT?
All right, thank you. So finally, my final words will be inspired, right? We're doing all this to inspire you, so be inspired. Take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves. Don't ever be a backseat or a backbencher in your own journey. You need to drive the narrative for yourself. You need to take advantage of every opportunity that is presented to you. Don't shy away, because a lot of people feel like women typically would shy away from opportunities. Talk yourself up. You can do it. Your male counterparts are not better. For example, you as good as them. So even for the guys as well, because I know that we also have guys on the call, you are who you say you are. So opportunities come, but you need to be prepared when opportunities come your way. Don't shy away. I see a lot of women especially shying away from opportunities. Take advantage of those opportunities, because sometimes those opportunities may not present themselves again. Prepare towards those opportunities so that when they come, you are able to actually take advantage of them and you're able to shine and you're able to come out on top. So that would be my advice.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful. So Dr. Vivian, please, what final advice would you give to young people starting out, young women starting out their careers in IT?
So I would say, first of all, explore your potentials. Find out where your strengths lie, because sometimes that's not very clear for the young ones. But once you find out where your strengths and your skills lie, then invest in your development in that particular, don't be dissipated, just focus, invest in your development, and then you'll get to the top. That's the basic rule. You'll be the best where you are. So that's the way to become the best in your field. So focus on knowing who you are, your potentials, invest in your development, and then you get to the top. Be the best where you are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow. So finally, Madam Stella, you're the last. So what final advice would you give to young women starting out their career in IT?
Thank you, Naomi. I think my colleagues have said a lot about it. The most important thing is that you must have a drive. What's driving you? What's motivating you? What's your inspiration? And bear in mind that nothing is too big for you to do if you put your mind to it. So basically identify where you're headed. I keep saying that because if you don't have a direction, if you don't know where you're headed, you won't even know when you have gotten to your destination. So it's very important for you to identify where you're going to, and then invest in learning, like Dr. Vivian said. Try as much as possible to keep learning. If people like us are still paying 3,000 on LinkedIn, sorry, on Udemy to learn things like Python and all that, I think it's important for us to be able to ascertain that education is important. It's very, very crucial to your career growth. It might not be a formal education, but anything you can pick up and read to learn. So that's basically what I would say. Keep learning, identify where you're headed, and put all the effort. And also, importantly, during your career progression, identify where you are in your career. The first 5 years, you're just starting out. What is more important is to gather all the skills. Then when you get your mid-career, like maybe 10 years in your profession, then what could be important to you at that point is to identify people around you, you network more. You network more. And then when you finally get to the peak of your career, like we have Mrs. Ade doing, you think about giving back to the society. So like I think Dr. Vivian said that everybody will get to this point where we are if you put your mind to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you very much. So there we have it. As young women, and I suppose men in the industry starting out our career in IT, we should endeavor to take risks, invest in ourselves, have a career plan, and more especially, have your whys. So there we have it. Can we please give a round of applause to our panelists? They all spoke very well, gave us words of wisdom, which if you implement it, both from first session to this first session to the second session, if you implement those advice, the sky will be your limit. So can we give a round of applause? An emoji can suffice, your favorite emoji, to the speakers for having us. So for the next session, we would have Ms. Gloria give us our closing remark. So Madam Gloria, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so I'm back again. So I want to say big thank you to all our panelists here with us. The person giving the closing remark is Doshima, but before she comes up, I would like to say that all our panelists here, we love you. We thank you for your time that you have spent with us. We also want you to know that we will also like you to speak in any of our sessions. So we'll reach out to you. Then you can now select when you would like to speak during any of our meetings. So thank you and God bless. So Dosh, over to you.
Hi, Gloria. Hello, everyone. Happy International Women's Day. The session today truly has been amazing. The panelists, the moderators, Miriam and Naomi, did a fantastic job. It's really been an amazing session. I don't think I have control to share my screen. Gloria, I think we need to make me the host. Okay, just a moment. Right, so for our closing today, I'm sending you some updated slides, Jerry, but for the closing today, obviously because we have a lot of our student members on the call and members who are just starting out in their career, it was important for us, the board felt it was important for us to review Academic Relations Department and student membership with ISACA. So we're going to get the right slides up in a second, and I will just take you through that. So for those of you who haven't met me before, who, are wondering who I am, my name is Doshima Dapoyewole. I have been kindly voted in to serve on the board by our members, by our community, by you guys. You voted for us to be on the board to serve you in the chapter as the academic relations liaison. Perfect. Thank you, Jerry. And essentially what academic relations is all about is supporting students, early career professionals in developing and advancing their career. So one of the things ISACA is very committed to is building a very strong cybersecurity industry. I know we've emphasized a lot on cybersecurity today, but ISACA actually covers a whole lot more than that. We also support people in various aspects of technology. And really the passion is to bridge the workforce gap to meet the global needs for skilled talent. So through various initiatives and targeted support through the Academic Relations Department, we have various initiatives throughout the year which support that. For academic relations in Abuja, we're focused on three things in 2024. We're focused on growth and providing opportunities for young professionals to join the chapter, to network with senior colleagues, to gain internships. We have a lot of students in our community who are coming up to their SciWest year, or they've graduated from school and they're looking for a position for their NYSC, or they finish NYSC and they're looking for their first job. So we try to do our best to help them find placements, help them network in the industry, and just hear information that will help them advance their career. We also are focused on enabling partnerships with the academia. So I'm very glad to have the guest speaker here who was from the National Open University. We look forward to having more partnerships with various academic institutions to help them upskill and reskill, and provide additional learning support to the academic communities. Right now, we have an academic partnership with Onitsha Business School, working to bring certifications and the best learnings from technology to students in the Southeast. So we're going to be working on doing much more for that in Abuja. And also we are committed to community outreach, engagements, and generally just the growth of our professionals. So I tend to work with a lot of our students and young professionals to support them as they develop. Right, so a few things that, some of our speakers had mentioned today, during the various panel sessions are about some of the forces impacting the future of work. We all know labor markets are under strain, skills and job locations don't always match, organizations are having to continuously adapt. technology is creating new opportunities and, of course, taking away ones that, we were used to. It's just like how, back in the day, for some of us, we may remember when we had to go to business centers to work on documents or pay the typewriter. For our students, you may probably remember your parents doing some of these things, but now everyone has a laptop and a printer in their home. So in as much as technology brings a lot of advancement, it takes away a lot of things. And a lot of things have become automated. So you actually really need to be in a community that will help to guide you, to show you where the opportunity is. I always say that technology doesn't exist in isolation, but people can exist in isolation. Technology still needs somebody to code, even the AI and the chat GPT. It still needs us to contribute to, that system, that software. It needs somebody to code for it to work. But people, we all know people who perhaps don't use any technology. They're not even on social media. So we can exist. So I always say technology doesn't exist without people. So there's always going to be opportunity, but you need to know, or you need to follow who knows road, right? And know where you're going. So I really encourage all our student members, all our young professionals to remain in the community, to renew their ISACA membership for 2024. To clarify, who exactly is a student member to ISACA? ISACA is quite unique in the sense that they have a very broad definition of who actually qualifies to come into ISACA or join ISACA as a student member. To ISACA, a student member is an individual who is joining ISACA for the first time, who is enrolled in an accredited academic degree seeking program. And this includes OND, HND, your bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD, and even executive education courses. So the benefits here of coming in as a student member is you're sort of eased into it. And of course, with the currency exchange, issues that we've been going through lately in the country, this is actually a great way to be able to access the benefits. So for current student members, the board and actually all of the ISACA chapter presidents in Africa have pushed and advocated at the global level to ensure that the renewal rate remains extremely competitive for students. So for 2024, the renewal rate for students, which is usually $30, is just $5 right now. So if you renewed your student membership previously, you should be contacted about a refund for the difference. And if you've been waiting or saving, to be able to renew your membership, you probably will be able to do that now at just a rate of $5. And that ensures that you have continued access to the benefits and networking in 2024 that an ISACA membership has to offer. There's several things that will be coming up later in the year. I loved how one of the speakers, Barrister Uche, mentioned earlier that, it's getting quite expensive with the currency exchange to take certifications, at the prices that are, a dollar cost right now. We're getting almost $2,000. Even your basic $500 entry-level certification can be quite expensive. So the great thing is that ISACA has some, entry-level certifications in emerging technology and information technology certified associate, which are at the foundational level. They're much more cost-effective, and they provide you with skills that are fundamental, credentials that will help you advance your career. So we will be having some classes, for that later on in the year for our student members. The Certified in Emerging Technology certificate focuses on it, artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud, Internet of Things, computing, networks and infrastructure, cybersecurity, software development, and data science. So a very broad range of knowledge, and obviously not as expensive as the top certifications like, your CISA or CISM, but at least these are certifications that are affordable, and you'll be able to advance your career with them. Of course, it's in Women's History Month, it's International Women's Day, so there's no way I wouldn't talk about ISACA's initiative for diversity and inclusion, which is the She Leads Tech initiative, which used to be under the One in Tech Foundation. So ISACA's foundation used to be called the One in Tech Foundation, but as of this month, it's been renamed to the ISACA Foundation. So One in Tech, the name One in Tech Foundation has been retired, and it's now called the ISACA Foundation. So there are several things that the ISACA Foundation has under the She Leads Tech program that I would really encourage us all and the women to join as well, which is the She Leads Tech Ambassadors Program. Now, this is a global allyship program that provides engagement and resources to those who support and include the advancement of women in the digital trust profession. Now, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of, in the office today, my male colleagues were joking and, we were having some banter, and they were like, oh, when is International Men's Day? And we're like, don't forget about that. We're celebrating International Women's Day today, right? So men can actually join the She Leads Tech Ambassadors. International Men's Day, by the way, is in November. So between now and November, let's support the women initiatives. So please sign up to be a She Leads Tech ambassador, promote the cause on your social media, in your community, offline and online. It's a great program and a great way to meet ISACA members all over the world. There are over 200,000 ISACA members. It's a great community. So please do sign up as a She Leads Tech ambassador. The next thing that is also quite important to know about ISACA's foundation is the annual scholarship cycle. So the ISACA Foundation annually awards several scholarships. I was very pleased. Several of our student members won scholarships last year. So the application cycle for the first round 1 of 2024, is opening up this month. And that is the International Women's Day Scholarship. I believe the application portal is going to open on the 22nd of March. So it's going to be open. Applications will be open for about 2 weeks. So it's good for you to begin to prepare your application. Think of answers to those frequent questions you see in scholarship applications. Tell me about yourself. Tell me why you want to work in, digital trust, whether it's cybersecurity, IT audit, privacy, governance, emerging technology. Begin to think of your answers to those questions so that once the portal opens, you can put in your application. Begin to think of what you would do with your scholarship. Do you want to take a certification? Do you want to put it through towards a master's degree? Do you want to put it, towards your final degree? Begin to build your story and put your application together so that once the portal opens, and I will, share a notice when it does open, you can put in your application. We're always happy to help you and support you and review your application to see how you can make yourself a stronger candidate, give you a few tips, share a few resources that will help you with your application. So this is why I say it's extremely important to remain in the community so that you have access to information and knowledge that will help advance your career. On a final note, this is just to say happy International Women's Day to all the women in ISACA Abuja chapter. You're an amazing group of women. You inspire us, and it's a pleasure to serve you on the management team. So thank you so much, everyone. Back to you, Madam G.
Hello, Dosh. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for the time that we have spent together here. It's been a pleasurable ride all through, from the beginning, from the national anthem, and now to the closing. Okay. Okay. So I want to say thank you to everyone for your presence here, for the time you have spent to be with us. We will be closing now, And then someone posted a question on the chat. Let me see that question. Let's see.
Yes, I was just going to draw your attention to it because I just saw it.
Yeah.
And it's from Vivian. So I'm happy to answer that. So Vivian, how you get involved in the community activities? You go to your ISACA.org, log into your portal, and you need to look for a tab called Engage. So Engage is sort of like our internal ISACA Facebook or LinkedIn, and that's where all opportunities are posted on the global level. So go to your Engage. You will see a part that says something like get involved. Maybe we'll share a screenshot or something in the members WhatsApp group, and there are opportunities at the global level involved. At the chapter level, you need to visit our website, and we'll share the link afterwards. The secretary and the management team have a form on the website that you can fill out to indicate your interest to volunteer. So there are various committees like, for example, the International Women's Day Committee. And I will say a very big thank you again to Miriam and Naomi for being very active in the community. And literally how they did that was by filling out the form. So if you don't apply, oh, great. Thank you, Stanley. You've posted the form in the chat group. If you don't apply, we have a way of knowing if you are interested. And believe me, there's so much to be done at the chapter level. So upcoming, we have the conference, workshops, dinner and award nights. We have community day coming up. So if you are interested, complete the form and then also visit your portal in ISACA.org, look for Engage, and you can sign up for the global opportunities there.
Okay, thank you, Dosh. That was awesome. So she has handled and answered that question. So the next thing for us to do now is to close. I will take the pledge. Want to go? I pledge to Nigeria, my country.
To Nigeria, my country.
To be faithful.
Faithful,
Hello.
loyal, and honest.
My country.
Serve
Faithful, loyal,
Nigeria
honest.
with all my strength.
With all my strength.
Defend her unity.
Defend her unity.
And uphold her honor and glory.
So help me God.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. And thank you to the men on the call. We can hear a lot of baritone voices. Thank you for celebrating.
Today is exclusively Women Affairs.